Action Comics 1092, Mark Waid writing with CIAN TORMEY on the art. So this is kind of starting a new arc, I suppose, since we've dealt with the teacher who's
Yeah.
left. We're still obviously doing the Superboy thing, but
Mhm.
we've got something new to start on, and this is very much a lot more of his learning, like the ways, some early lessons that he needs to learn. Like he's going around helping people. We start off with this old guy in Smallville who's rebuilt this plane that he's going to die in because he's an idiot. He doesn't know how to build a plane,
Yep.
but he thought he could fly it.
Yep.
And it falls apart when Superboy tries to hold on to it. So his solution ends up being to freeze it. Well, to be fair, he doesn't do that
He
intentionally.
doesn't mean to.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
only going to use super breath, but he ends up using freeze breath instead. However, it does end up making it solid so he can grab it. So it does actually work
Yeah.
out in the end. He's able to carry it down at that point.
Yeah, he's able to help it glide down to where, he brings the old man back to his wife as she's holding. I did think it was funny she's holding the rolling pin. And I was like, oh my God, that's so quaint, you know?
Yeah, and there's like a
Um,
montage of him saving other people around town. And then there's a scene of General Lane saying, yeah, this Superboy's a menace. We have to get him. He's a threat to national security, all that. But, this issue's got a lot of the things that I've been liking about this story, which is the idea of him making mistakes and sort of learning new lessons. And then you've also got the typical teen stuff here, which is him staring at Lana and feeling like he's messed it up because he was making fun of the love triangle that he's in, kinda. And like Jonathan and Martha, like, well, the parenting books didn't cover how to tell your child about their own love triangle where they're both of the men in the triangle. So what do we do?
the panel of him walking away from mom and pa going, I'm in a love triangle with two people. This sucks. God, it's such a, 'cause that's going to be his whole life. Because then when he goes to Metropolis and with Lois, right? There's that early vibe with that too. So it's just like, hey, kid, get used to it. I thought that was real funny.
Yeah. And he sees her walking with another boy, so he's upset about that. But he promises Pete that they'll hang out again because, funnily enough, he's not had much time to just hang out with Pete since he started going about saving people. But again, he's flying around the world. He's in Indonesia, Central City, so on and so on. And he's saving people, and he's basically saying that he's starting to feel really alienated as Clark Kent. It's like he can't really reveal who he is. He's hiding from Pete more. It feels like that's the lie that he's living in. He's not really healthily giving that part of his life enough of its attention. So he's receding into Superboy more. However, he has an incident here which kind of shakes him up a little bit in that side of things, where he goes to save a woman who's about to be hit with a truck. And he does save her, but it turns out she's blind and she gets so scared by being grabbed because she never realized she was about to be hit, that she's freaking out and saying, you're the devil, don't touch me. And the entire crowd that are around start yelling at him and saying, how could you do that to a blind woman? And we know he did nothing wrong, but they all hate him for it. And he flies off thinking, wait, one mistake, that's all it took for everyone to turn on me. That's all it's going to take if I'm not perfect 100% of the time. So, he's in this place where it's like, oh, he was tempted by the allure of how good it feels to be Superboy, but he's learning that that's not going to always be happy. It's not always going to be just praise all the time. There's going to be situations where people do treat him badly or think that he's the bad guy or not understand that a choice that he's made, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's the first time too, and I also feel like it's his first time with a big city, kind of, right? It's almost like that Spider-Man thing where people are complaining about Spider-Man, and then but when the time comes, they all will unite around him, right? He's still in that part where people are, still getting used to him. And the people in the big city are going to have all different opinions, right? It's not that quaint small town kind of thing. Superboy, it's a kind of like, well, what do you want? Why did he do this? Who are you? There's a lot more cynicism that comes with the big city. And the fact that he can hear all of it too, right? Because of his super hearing and all of this, he's just got to learn to block it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's not his first time in a big city, because, literally in the montage on the page before, he's in, Central City, which I've always thought of as a big city.
Yeah, when I say big city, I'm talking the big, again, the kind of the New York of it all. You know how, people from those big cities, there's just a different attitude around it, That's why I compared it to Spider-Man, because you get that in a lot of those Spider-Man stories, that people that, just straight up listen to J. Jonah Jameson, and think that Spider-Man's not just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. and all of that.
No, I get what you're saying.
Like
I just don't think it's specifically because it's a big... Because I think he's been in big cities helping people, because he's been in Metropolis before, which is where this happens. I think it's just a case of... It's kind of what he says. It's just like, oh, all he had to do was make one thing that could be misconstrued by anyone, and all of a sudden, you know, everyone hates him. At least in the vicinity, everyone hates him anyway.
Right.
So... but when he gets back to Smallville, though, the next part of the story is that Lane's there basically demanding from the crowd that they give up Superboy, because they've figured out, his scientists have figured out that whoever he is seems to always concentrate around Smallville. Like, he always flies back in this general direction, that kind of thing. They've triangulated. This is where he must be based, is Smallville. So he comes in, starts demanding things. And Superboy, there's some nice little bits here, actually. I like that he has to tell himself not to look at his parents because it'll give away maybe who he is. So he's like not doing that. He tries to de-escalate and talk to Sam Lane, kind of calm, and say, hey, let's, you know, deal with this peacefully. There's no reason to terrorize the people of the town. And then the heartwarming part that comes into it, and this is funny because it happened in Absolute Superman just a couple issues ago, is this idea that the people of Smallville all step up and say, leave the kid alone, he saved my husband, or leave him alone, he saved this person, he saved me, he did this for us. And they all just kind of stand in front of him and like fold their arms and say, you have to go through us, General Lane. So Superboy says, hey, can we just go have a chat? And they go to a diner and talk. And you know, Superboy has to pretend to be confident when he's not. He's actually scared shitless the whole time. But he's like, hey, I will never kill anyone. I'll never be a weapon, but I will occasionally work with you because I do care about protecting the country, yada, yada. And Sam Lane, at least for now, agrees with this. I will say the only thing in this issue I didn't like is him saying, you remind me of my daughter, just because it's poking at the connections that I just wish weren't there yet, you know?
Yeah, too cute by half. Right?
It's too cute. Like I get why you pick Sam Lane for this role because it is related to Lois, but I almost wish it wasn't him. I wish it was just someone else.
No, yeah, that makes sense, but just it also goes with the dynamic of Sam Lane and Superman. You know, like this has been a thorn in Clark's side, you know, and I feel like where the story's gonna go is about why he doesn't necessarily always work with the government. Right, like why?
No, that's fine, but that's nothing to do with what I'm saying though. I'm saying that I don't like that when he meets Lois, he's already got a connection to her through interacting with her dad. I don't like that connection being there, like in period. So I just wish this was someone. It can be another general, someone else to make the same point. I just don't think this is. I don't like this choice. It's too cute. It's too. Everyone's related to a Skywalker or a Palpatine, right? It's too much of that.
Yeah. I get it. I just like it just because it again, it makes that, you know, Sam Lane's been a thorn in Clark's side for forever, you know, so it's just that reminder, you know, regardless of the connection with Lois or whatever.
Yeah, but you can do that after he meets Lois. You can do that in the future.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't bother, that one doesn't bother me as some of the other too cute by half stuff. Like the whole, him getting the Superboy name because a guy for the Daily Planet. Oh, my niece. You know,
yeah.
Whatever. Like that one I had more of an issue with than this one.
Well, that one's like
although we didn't need him to say it. I didn't need him to say, you remind me of my daughter. Like, again, I don't need that, but I have no problem with it being Sam Lane, you know, because just of what he represents in the whole mythos of Superman.
The naming one is absolutely worse. Like that's the worst thing this book has done, is that like this is where the name came from, because it was like addressing a complaint that we have because he's Superboy before he's Superman, but it does it in this really awkward way to try and make it. I complained about it enough at the time, but anyway. So yeah, at the end of the book though is basically that there's one of the technology inside the museum, the future museum, the Expo of Tomorrow, in Metropolis. There's a message saying, Superboy, you know, we need your help, you know, are you there, kind of thing, coming from this mystery device. Maybe from the future?
Maybe?
Legion is the first thing I thought of when I saw this last page.
Yeah. Well, just because since it's a mystery device, like, again, we don't know. Like, I remember it being there, right? Because didn't Superboy save it when those guys were attacking the Expo?
That sounds,
you know, from getting destroyed.
Right. I don't remember it, but it sounds plausible.
Yeah. I just remember because it looks like a satellite dish with the thing. So almost like an ET, what he uses to phone home a little bit. But yeah, is it the future? I don't know. Because again, it is in the Science Museum. So
Yeah, but the Expo of Tomorrow, I would have thought that all of their exhibits weren't actually things from the future because they don't have time travel.
Right.
They're all just kind of
Exactly.
theoretical, like here's some art that we imagine the future to be kind of thing.
Right. But it's also in the Science Museum, so it could literally be, anything with a science basis.
Somehow it ended up there, right? Well, I'm sure we'll get an explanation how it ended up there when we find out who's calling.
Yes. So, but yeah, no, I really like this. It was, again, it wasn't Skylar Patridge on art, although it was, like you said, CIAN TORMEY.
Yeah, to be fair, it doesn't feel like I don't get me wrong, I prefer Partridge, I do. But I don't think CIAN TORMEY's style feels that different to the point where it feels like the book shifty tone. It feels like it still fits in the same sort of style overall.
It definitely does. I would just say some of the expressions and some of the faces, right? So I'm looking at in the diner, the of Sam Lane, and then it does the reverse of Superboy. They both have these very huge jaws, right? And it almost like CIAN TORMEY kind of draws the same expressions on the faces. You know what I mean? Like it's just very, not flat. That's not the right word I'm looking for, but like, I don't know. It's just, I have an issue with some of the facial things here and the proportions and whatever.
Yeah.
But again, it wasn't enough to be a problem.
Yeah.
And in fact, I had forgotten it wasn't Patridge until I opened, until I got halfway through and I was like, this feels a little bit off. And I went back and looked at the credits page.
Yeah,
so.
No, it mostly feels in the right style and tone. It's just that, like there is some specific details, like you said, the faces. That's where you can see the difference, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is someone else. I did just check. Partridge is back for the next issue, so this was just a one. Because I thought maybe they'd have Tormey do an arc and then go back to Partridge, but no, it's Partridge next issue, so we're good on that. All right, what are you giving Action Comics?
I'm gonna give this an 8.
I'll even go 8.5, I think I like, as much as I'm complaining about the one Lois reference, I do think this issue was an exemplary issue of everything I've liked about this run.